Before I relate this story, there are things I need to clarify. My whole life, I have struggled with a sleep condition called sleepwalking. This involves doing simple, everyday tasks while I'm asleep. Opening the fridge, putting clothes into the washer without turning the washing on, placing the laundry in it. I used to do this every night when I was younger, but now that I'm in my late 30s, it only happens once or twice a year. Being native, I have a healthy respect for the ghosts and the legends that my forefathers relayed. On several hunting expeditions, I would sit by the fire with my father and hear him recount tales of the traps that Wendigo used to attempt to draw you to them. Although I'm not sure if I believe the tales of the skinwalkers and Wendigos, I don't like to screw about just in case. After all, around 3 weeks ago, my husband and I, who both work in construction, would have to prepare for the following day's work after supper. Our heads hit the pillows, the lights go out, and we sleep like we're dead until the alarm goes off. We are confident that a war could break out in our bedroom, complete with thundering tanks, and we would sleep right through it, wondering in the morning where all the holes in the wall came from. Our bedroom is a decent size and has a small bay window in the corner. My husband prefers to sleep with fresh air, so he chooses to sleep on the window side of the bed. On this particular night, however, something woke me up, which is unusual for me to do. The dogs were quiet, and the rain was tapping softly outside, typical northwestern weather, but there was nothing else out of the ordinary. I decided to flip my pillow and adjust my blankets before going back to sleep. As I closed my eyes and took a deep breath to unwind, I heard my husband calling out to me, "Babe, babe," to help me with the boys. Perplexed and still dazed from having just been awakened from a deep sleep, I opened my eyes to the room's total darkness once more. Only occasionally will one of our 3 dogs need to go outside at night, and if it does, they will go. "Sweetie, sweetie, will you just come and assist me with the boys?" He called again. We live in a very rural place, and it's easy for them to get lost in the dark woods, which is bad when you have bears, coyotes, cougars, and anything else on your land. The voice against the partially open window was demanding, unconcerned, and sleepy. It was too dark to see him through the window, so I leaned up and supported myself on a thick bundle of blankets. The third time my husband beckoned for me to go outside by the floodlight on the opposite side of the house bothered me because he was never that pushy. Instead, if something was wrong or one of the dogs wandered off, he would only say that it had happened. Instead, he would say something along the lines of, "Come and watch these 2 real quick. I can't find Murph," or something similar, to the effect that something wasn't right. The moment I looked out the black window and realized I wasn't leaning on a stack of blankets, I was able to regain my composure and shake off the sleepiness. My husband has a very distinctive voice. He is a Sicilian from Queens and has a very deep, unintentionally loud voice. Breathing within the blanket heap, the voice called again from the window while I was resting against my sleeping spouse and listening as he called out to me, "Babe, come out." My spouse was lying next to me asleep when I put my hand on his face, yet I could hear him, or what I believed to be him, by the window. I lay down next to him, very near to him, and tightly shut my eyes. In situations like this, I tend to try to deny what is occurring. I didn't hear anything again, and I spent the remainder of the night attempting to fend off the spookies before I eventually drifted off to sleep. The next morning when he said, "Oh my God, you look like death," I told my husband about it. He laughed it off and said that I had probably simply experienced a scary sleepwalking incident. It's like a blackout every time I experience sleepwalking. No matter how hard I try, I can never remember anything from those nights. Every time I reflect back on it during the previous several weeks, I'm sure I was awake for this. I can still see me on those hunting expeditions, using a stick to poke coals around the fire, while my father performed his energetic yet serious tales of the Wendigo tactics to entice you to them. I realize that seems absurd, but I believe there may be a Wendigo in my woods. Story 2. My house was surrounded by trees, and the only neighbors I had were an elderly couple who lived just down the hill from us. The other neighbor I had was miles distant and was in the midst of a forest. Back of my home, this narrative takes place during the day, which makes it even weirder because the nighttime at that caravan house has always made me feel uneasy. My baby, who was around 7 months old, wanted to spend some time outside in the fresh air and sun. My baby and I were alone that day because everyone else was at work. We settled in on the porch steps at approximately noon and got used to the late spring, early summer heat. I was holding him in my lap while we played, and I showed him all of the vegetation surrounding us. We had been outside for about 8 minutes when I heard a child's agonized cry echoing from the forest behind my house. I immediately rose up to see if my neighbor's grandkids had visited them, but they weren't even at home. I kept utterly silent. I was about to enter the home again when I heard a little girl scream for assistance. Terrified, I dialed my sister to ask her what I should do before dialing 911. Fortunately, she responded quickly while holding my baby in one arm and the phone in the other. I mentioned the scream to my sister. Although there are neighbors in the nearby woods, I don't see why a child would be alone in the woods shouting like that. It is a good distance from their home for them to be playing pranks on me here. While I was on the phone with her asking her what to do, I overheard children laughing loudly in the woods, this time 2 or 3 youngsters, and it sounded much closer like they were in the tree line where the forest begins. She was perplexed but didn't stress out like I did. I asked my sister if she had heard it, but she hadn't. When I asked her again whether I should phone the police, she advised me to go inside and to do so if I heard anything strange again. I foolishly stay and record videos to send to my friend, telling her where I heard the screams and laughter, and that's when a large hawk emerges from the tree line and moves to a large oak in front of my house. I hang up and leave a voicemail for my best friend, who returns it by saying the same thing: go inside and stay there. Don't come out. The hawk rests on a big limb of a tree and looks at me. After the hulk stares me down for 5 minutes, it flies over my house and disappears. I recorded a video of the hawk and sent it to my friend. She then left me a voicemail saying that her boyfriend wanted me and my son to go inside. My friend's boyfriend was native to the area. I go inside and spend the rest of the day there, completely frightened by the experience and in disbelief. Although I don't believe in skinwalkers, I know that it couldn't have been kids because no kids would be playing that far into the woods. And how would they have known we were there? Were they keeping an eye on us? I forgot to mention that a week and a half after the strange event, a friend of mine revealed to me that her boyfriend's father had heard that skinwalkers had been spotted on the reservation on several occasions. She advised me not to whistle at night, to ignore any strange activity in the woods in the future, and to avoid ever saying the word aloud for fear that they would find out and come for you. Thank you for joining us on this spine-tingling journey into the world of terrifying tales. If you've braved it this far and crave more heart-pounding narratives, don't forget to subscribe. By doing so, you'll ensure that you never miss out on the chilling stories we have in store for you. Hit that subscribe button now, and together, we'll keep the nightmares alive. Story 3. I'm from upstate New York. It was late at night, probably around 1 o'clock in the morning when this happened. I have a window at the end of my bed with an AC in it. It is about 8 feet from my window to the grass below. My cat, Hudson, loves to jump on the open window and lie across and press against the screen. He had chosen to climb up on that window this evening, and I had completely forgotten that the screen was missing because of the air conditioning. I wasn't aware of this until I heard Hudson hissing and shrieking at something outside the window. I thought it may be an animal, like a raccoon, and called him in. But when I went to get him, he had already fallen out and was yelling. I went to my brother's room to ask him to help me go find my cat, because I'd never heard him make a sound like this before, and I was quite concerned since he's gotten out before and has been lost for days. The darkness was thrown out the window at this precise moment, and I sprinted outside and to the side of my house, where my window was. I turned and shone the torch on the area, but what I saw was not a cat, but a figure that was between 7 and 8 feet tall and reached out of my open window. The creature noticed my torch and looked in my direction. It had deep red eyes that kept me rooted to the spot. The creature then let go of the house and moved towards the field to the side, but it didn't go on all fours. Instead, whatever this thing was stood in its back legs and quickly ran into the darkness. One of the creature's back legs was pressed against the house while the front legs had a hold on my windowsill. At that time, I believe my adrenaline was pounding, so I ran to fetch my younger brother to ask him to help me search the field for the thing as he was looking for my cat in front of the house. Its rear legs were at least 7 to 8 feet tall, and I could make out what looked to be a set of horns or antlers on its head. It did not at all like a human being. Its arms swayed to the side, and its stance was a little slumped. Without saying a word, my brother and I both froze as we turned to look at the tree and bushes next to the house and heard them rustling. Then, as we got closer to the field, we saw nothing at all. No cat, no creature. We quickly made our way back to the front door to check for the cat on the other side of the house. I don't know if what we heard was a human or an animal, but as I stood in the driveway, I had a terrible gut feeling that it wasn't safe and I wouldn't want my brother outside. I quickly locked the door and went to the back porch sliding door, where I found my cat waiting to be let in. My cat is the type to escape and be outside for days with no problem. I've only told this story in such detail to my boyfriend, and even then, it's difficult to explain what I saw, heard, and felt that night. My gut feeling was something is not right, and we could be in serious danger, and it was nothing. His tail was the bushiest I've ever seen, and the poor thing was shaking. He ran inside and stayed away from the windows and doors the rest of the night. The sensation I had as the thing peered into my soul with those deep crimson eyes was the part of that event that I remember it the most from up until that point in time. I frequently see that event's size in my dreams when I close my eyes, since it took me so long to understand and comprehend what I had experienced. But I live quite near to what is known as Wendigo territory in New York. So I thought I'd finally share with you guys what I can only accurately characterize as a Wendigo. The whole event terrifies me, just thinking about it.